prioritization of domestic products. I think that remains to be seen. But Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary, out on Sunday, Face the Nation, is not worried about inflation, either from tariffs or anything else. Here's what he said.
There will be tariffs, there will be cuts in regulation, there will be cheaper energy. So I would expect that very quickly we will be.
So tariffs should be inflationary, according to history. We'll see if they're not, as he says. Deregulation is pro-growth. You know, that can maybe be inflationary, but the deficit spent, cutting that they're doing ultimately should pressure interest rates lower as well. So add it all up, he thinks we're going down to 2%. And I will just say, the odds of a Fed cut have increased. We're now looking at 2.5% where we were at 1 weeks ago.
Mic check. Mic check. All right, we're going to do a quick mic check. I'm going to get right into charting. I already have some trades on. So we're already in platinum, S&P, and Bitcoin. So I'm going to close some off. Platinum, I'm going to go in and close off 3 of these. Is what I want to do. Have 5 on. Would like to close out 3. Good morning, Alex. Thanks for letting me know sound's working. So I'm closing off 3 of platinum already. And then as it's breached the 1-to-1 level. And then I've got 10 on Bitcoin. I'm only going to close out 6 of Bitcoin. I'd like to let 4 run today. And then we'll close off 6 of S&P. I took a chance on S&P that it was I could buy off the buy signal, which is what it did. So this is going against was going against the 4-hour trend. I'm going to sell 6 off of those. Let's see, I need to mark what I placed out here. I had a loss this morning of 375, and that was on S&P where I didn't close out on a short. So I'm just dug myself out of the hole. I don't know if I can make this. We'll do that here in a second. So I'm in a few things. I'm going to let these obviously ride. We'll see how the runners do today. So I have 2 running on platinum. And what we'd like to do is move our stop on platinum some. I think I just want to move my stop up halfway on these. So Bitcoin just now is popping back to the high from over here, from the last swing up. So I actually got in over here where it broke. So where Bitcoin broke the previous high, that's when I got in. So I got in and sat through a little bit of a pullback on it. I'm still waiting on that other account to get approved.
something, right? I mean, how much of that is in the market, I guess, is the question.
Yeah, probably not a ton. I mean, you haven't really compressed the valuation overall. The market now you've compressed the valuation relative to what treasuries are because they've rallied so much and you have yields that much lower. Yeah, I just feel like it's one of those things where you've got a psychological reset. All the surveys say we don't know what to make of this. When that happens near the high, when the trend is still good and the economy is so far not giving it up, I think it's a more muddle through scenario than it is a look out for that.
It is interesting that everything that's needed has worked this well this year. Europe, China.
I didn't mark what I locked in individually on these either. I know at one point platinum was up like 1,700. I think it was 12 something when I closed out. So good on the day. Like I said, I think it was about 370 was my loss earlier, and that was on this right here. It was on S&P. So I went ahead and took it short against the trend, against the 4 hour. So basically, when it pulled back up here and broke that. Oh yeah, I've gotten lots of payouts. I get a payout every month from Apex. I just do one a month. I've got multiple accounts linked together. So yeah, I was waiting. Once S&P broke that pullback line here, a retracement line, that's when I got in. So it went and hit this previous low. I didn't close. I was, hoping it was going to push through. And it pushed through a little bit and pulled back. Well, by then I wasn't up enough and didn't want to close. So that's where I took the loss today on S&P. So it was still a good trade. It was a 4 hour bar was green. The 1 hour was back green. It broke a retracement, pullback line, and that's where I got in. So it was a good entry. Just had no follow through. So took a chance on it, and it was, like I said, I think it was 370. Yeah, and then what I try and do is at least once a month. I got a little aggressive with it at the end of the year in December because I wanted to start out 2025 with my funded accounts heavy. So what I did was, I don't know, it was Friday night or Saturday. I bought another 50K eval through Apex, and then Sunday night I passed it. That's why I had to stop trading. Someone asked me why I closed out my trades. I can't remember who. But I was in the Discord and posted. And a 50K account, you just have to make 3K. And then you need to stop, because you passed the eval. So there's no use to keep trading because it doesn't do anything for you. So I closed out my trades, and I can't remember who it was. I think it was Topos had asked in the Discord, well, why'd you close your trades? And I put in there that's why, because it was a eval account. And once I hit the 3K, I just closed all. So I haven't checked this morning, but my guess is it won't be till the end of day today because it was late when I did it. So then that one will get added to my other PA accounts. All right, so I'm marking this other high right here to break. We'll see if that one, sometimes on these small charts, it's hard to get in there and do stuff. Take this other one off. I decided to switch the view on the charts to this, where they're squares instead of the lines. I don't know if they'll be a little easier to see. That was my thinking. I'm not sure. We'll have to see how it goes. Because I know right now, you can't really see platinum too well because my head's in the way. I'm waiting on things to break. Platinum did break its high, so that's good. I like that platinum broke. Testing that support level. Or come back a little bit. So we'll see what happens. If it goes up to the next level, if platinum goes up to the next level on the profit target tool, I'll close off one of those. So I'll go ahead and like lock in here, ready to close out one. And then I have 4 on S&P, so we'll get in here and get ready to close out 2 is what I'd like to close out at the next target level. So with S&P, if it breaks this high, gets to the next, and I won't do it at the next level because that high is like right there, right under level 3. So I'm not really interested in pulling one off right there, just above that high. I'd rather see it go higher. So far, so good. Yeah, well, I like, and I'm getting ready to get stopped out at a half loss on Bitcoin. So Bitcoin, I had 10 on, closed out 6 in profit, and if it stops me out, my stop's aggressive. I moved it up kind of tight, so I'd have to look for another entry. Technically, my stop should be below this threshold right here. Doing a little tighter stops this week. But yeah, I like Apex. I've never had any issues. Apex and Top Step. Never had issues with either one of them. I know a guy locally that got banned from Apex. I think he's back to trading them now. I don't know. But I think he created an account with someone else's name. Probably his mother or father. All right, still waiting on these highs to break. Got to kind of duck out of the way for platinum.
Whatever the decision is from the U.S., again, this is regarding the tariffs set to take effect 25% from Mexico.
No, I'm not messing with gold right now. I mean, it's if I turn off the 1-hour sales, nothing but buy signals, other than we've had a couple 1-hour sales. So it's kind of back and forth on the signals, so I'm just not interested in it right now. All right, so taking out a Bitcoin. So I'd look to get in another entry on it. Got to look at the other two before I switch screens. So this trades out as of here. Whoops. I wanted to move this over to where I got kind of stopped out, and then make it so that was the first trade. So good trade. I'd be looking for a pullback and bounce here. Need to see a signal on it, and I would definitely draw a retracement line across these highs right here and extend that down. So that's going to be our, I move these around on me. So retracement line down. And at any point, a retracement line can become a new trend line. So be waiting on a bounce. That's what I'm looking for on it. Now, I've been on a 1 minute on these on Bitcoin and S&P. And if I took Bitcoin short, it would only be on a 15-minute. So a lot riskier.
They're all over the place because it depends on the type of vehicle.
I'd rather wait for that setup.
Built in Mexico has lower cost than a vehicle built in Canada.
I have a pending order on oil, but it never got triggered. So I did on oil, and there goes Bitcoin without us short. Sometimes I'll take a trade when the 15-minute turns opposite like that, but it's not often because it is a riskier trade. Just depends on if I want to, I'd have to prepare to take a loss because they don't always follow through. But yeah, down on oil came up, made a high, and then it made had a buy signal, had a good bounce, buy signal, and then I just wasn't ready to buy in because I knew that it might only go to that previous high. So I didn't take it. What I did was as it came up, I put a pending order above that high. So it never got triggered. So I'm glad because if I would have taken it, I don't know. There was enough room in there, but I don't think I would have closed partial. So I'd still be in it. I'd be, like right now, I'd be at around break even some point, but I'd have been back in the negative here on it. So just didn't get involved with that. So glad for that one. Yeah, as far as Bitcoin, it's pulled down and it's pulled back to test that trend line, which is drawn from this point A here to what's the second point, first and second point, or point A, point B, whatever you want to call them. That's where that this trend line's drawn off of, that it just broke. And it pulled back to test, but right now it's pulling back through. That's why I just wait for a setup on it. Not interested in getting mixed up in all that. It's easy after the fact to go, well, but we could have shorted it when the 15-minute turned red. And it's easy to look back now and go, yeah, we could have shorted it. The short, your target would be the trend lines, because we never know if it's going to go past. It did go past, so it's easy to look right now and say, yeah, it went. We could have taken that. However, when the chart is like that, so yeah, we could say, well, we could have shorted when at 15-minute, and then look at what we would have made. But when you come over here like this, there's your first red dot showing up down here on the 15-minute. So it was right at a trend line. I wouldn't have taken that, because we don't expect them to go through. They might, but we just don't expect it. So that is not the time for me to sell, because it's right at a trend line. I'm still looking for a bounce, for a bullish with the 1 hour and 4 hours. So, like I said, it's easy to look back, and then same with that second line. As it comes down here and it hits the second one, we're still looking for a bounce on it because the 1 hour, 4 hour green. So unfortunately, if that were to turn into the trend, then yes, we've missed the initial move, but we're waiting on safer trades is what we're waiting on. So and then it goes through, and yes, it pulls back to test that trend line. So it did everything perfect. It broke through the trend lines. Even this one broke through, tested it. Broke through this one, tested it. Well, this time when it tested that, it failed. So we might be looking, I'm still looking for a bullish signal on it, even though we had a decent pullback. Because all it did on this deep pullback was just basically test this line here, this area over here, where it hung out sideways for a while. So nothing unusual. Everything, the market will move up and up, and we'll get higher highs, higher lows. Eventually, it will break a low or high and go and just pull back deeper. So we'll see what happens here, though. We do have some large wicks, so the bearish side of the market's still in play. I mean, the bullish side pushed it up, but you'll see the bearish side just is keeping it down right now under these highs. So it may turn into we got about a half hour till 10. It may turn into a bearish setup for the rest of the day. Still waiting on platinum. Platinum broke its high here, that high to break, but just didn't go anywhere. And it basically hit the backside of this trend. This trend line was drawn from this move up here. So I'm going to, I like to take these and just change them. If I'm going to leave it on the chart, I'll just change it to like a dashed line. And then just got stopped out on my runners on S&P. So we're still I'm still positive on the day. Lost back on my runners, and unfortunately this is the day I chose to put on 10. Had 10 on S&P and closed out only 6 instead of 8. Normally I close out 8. I wanted to let 4 runners go on S&P and Bitcoin. So we'll have to wait for a setup now. So good trade overall. Like I said, started out with a negative. That was here on S&P, where I where I got in right here short. So it was somewhere in here. It wasn't that candle where it broke that, but basically when it pulled back the retracement, it had pulled back to my trade line, which was from this, you know, those 2 points. I don't know if I can get on that one, but from those 2 points right there is what the retracement or the down trade line's drawn off of. So when it retraced back up, and it retraced back up and hit this low right here, you know, because I had the line there, low to break, which it broke, came back, tested, broke that, you know, retracement line. So I went ahead and shorted it in there. And like I said, initial target should be the previous low because it may not break it. And it popped to it. I just didn't close any. Like, no, I'm not closing any. It's still early in the morning. And I didn't close any. And then when it pulled back over here, well, then I switched over to a buy and closed my short. So I did close my short out in a loss. It was a small loss. It was like 375. And then I got in on the buy, and then it just didn't go anywhere. It went up almost to level 3, which is 2 to 1. So it didn't even quite hit 2 to 1. And now we're getting a 1 hour switch, you know. So if I want to take the 1 hour switch, let me get to Bitcoin, because Bitcoin's giving us a good bounce. Then I would look to take them now. And Bitcoin's already kind of moving without me here, so I'm gonna have to wait. So Bitcoin and S&P, good trades. Like I said, I put on 10, closed out 6, let 4 run. S&P, was it S&P? One of them I moved the stop to halfway. So again, if I take either one of these, if I take Bitcoin, I'm trading short against the 1 hour and 4 hour. And it could pan out. I'd just be taking a risk. So need to do less contract. Same with S&P. And let me, since I'm out of S&P, let's see, it stopped me out pretty much on that candle right there. So that candle right there took me out, because S&P, I believe I had my stop still out where it originally was. So you got opening bell of the stock market. Some people don't want to get tangled up in that at all. That's why we're getting some good moves right now. Still waiting on platinum to break. So platinum I was in with 5, closed 3. Waiting on platinum still to break and stay above this high. I thought that was going to be our break there. But it just didn't stay up there. And then oil still not in. So oil, this is why I was glad I put a pending order on oil, because again, it made a high, put a pending order above it because the buy signal came. I just didn't feel confident in buying yet. So I decided to put a pending order above that high in case it broke it. See, now it looks like S&P wants to go after the market open. So it just took me out. I had my stop kind of tight, remember? I think I mentioned that earlier, that I had my stop tight. So where I got in on S&P, I put my stop tight. Someone asked me again last week early if I could trade with tight stops. And this is what happens to you sometimes. I put on a tight stop and just got stopped out on my runners before it took off, and it just hit level 4, which is 3-1. So technically my stop should have been past the low. You know, like when you get in on a buy here, you should go back and find the previous low, and that's the swing low there. So it should have been back below there, below those points, and this is the lowest one. If I would have had my stop below that, I would still be in on the runners. Now my profit target tool would look different. It would look like that. So as far as that looks, it's really just breached 1-1 from where my stop was. So it looks a little different if you do it like that. So I went and used the tight stop though. Are you trading, Alex? I know you asked about Apex. Are you using Apex or trying them? Have you been trading with them for a while? There's nothing wrong with the prop firms. I love the prop firms. You just use them for what they are. Get in, get your money. But yeah, I haven't had a problem with payouts. Looks like oil's going to barely take me in. If it takes me in, I think it's going to take me in. So I'm going to go ahead and put myself in there. All right, so I said if platinum went up and broke, I was going to close one more. So platinum's at 750, and down here, so we hit 800 there. So I'm going to go ahead and sell off one. So I closed one about 400, somewhere around there, and then need to change my stop to match. And then at this point, we would move our stop to break even on it. I'll move my stops to where the order is out of the way. I just don't know what I want to do with, I'd be taking a risky trade on Bitcoin. And it's starting to move without me. I'm going to wait for a pullback. So right now in the positive 662 is what I'm showing down there. Can you guys see that? I don't know if I adjusted that. I don't know if this will show. Well, that's kind of big. Yeah, they do. So those are the, I just adjusted that tool out, or the bottom number. So the number on the right is our unrealized profit. It's what we got sitting in the hole we could close out. And then to the right is the realized profit. So locked in 662 on the day, and technically I look for 5. Man, we didn't get that pullback. We got the 1 hour reverse on Bitcoin. I'm waiting on a pullback. It's going without me. And I hate that, but there's nothing I can do about it. I don't want to jump in Bitcoin now. I don't want to jump in gold now. Had several opportunities to buy gold, but it just was back and forth on the indicator. So I guess once it kept printing green down here, we could have bought, and I could have also come in and put a pending order above the highs here, but did not. So it's going without me. Anyways, the number on the left is 662. Now, again, I lost 370 this morning. So started off with 370 in the hole right out of the bat on S&P. So add the 370 to the 662. So after the loss of 370, I made that back and 662. So I've made over 1,000 after that first loss. So this is why I keep trading. I had someone ask the other day, well, after a couple losses, don't you stop? And it's like, no, because I know what I can do on the day. A loss to me is nothing. That loss, that 370 loss, is nothing. I've already made back that loss and 662, and I have 3 something in the hole. So, with all that being said, I took the loss, add that to the 662. That's over $1,000, 1,300, 1,400 on the day. Profit, about 1,400 with 370 lost initially. So, yeah, they do. They look at your trade plans. So you have to have a solid trade plan. You have to have reasons for getting in trades. The guy I talk about, I don't mention his name anymore, but I've talked about him before. That he's local to me, and he was buying 20 accounts, evals, passing what I thought was all of them. So he's like, yeah, I passed my accounts. So he buy 20 evals. He's like, oh, and there goes S&P. He let me know. He was like, yeah, I passed my accounts. I'm like, oh, that's great. I'm thinking he's passing all 20. And been doing this for 2 years. I've watched him blow through a lot of money. Because then he would get his PA accounts, and then he'd blow the PA accounts because they're all linked together. I tried to get him to only link if you have 20, I'm like, just link 4 or 5. That way, if he blew the 4 or 5, he'd have 15 backup. But in talking with him last year, I found out that what he was... Oh, we got pulled in short on oil on my... I don't like that. So I thought oil was going to pull up and trigger me long. And that's why I put that sell stop order. I put my stop in ahead of time. Just because I thought it was going to pop me in long, and I haven't been watching. It actually triggered short. So I don't like that, because normally I won't. Yeah, I'm going to close that, because that wasn't my plan, right? So I'm closing oil short. I'm in it. I'm not a chance taker like I said. I put on my pending order long earlier because in case it broke this high. That was my plan when it pulled up, when it was going here, and it never broke. So as it was pulling up here, I thought, well, I'm going to get triggered long. I'll go ahead and put my short in. Right now it's pulling short and I'm in it, but that wasn't my plan. So I know I'm up a little bit, but I'm closing it because that was not my plan for oil. And I only have the 15-minute red, so just not, And yeah, you could leave it on if you want, but I'd have to say I accidentally made $30 because that was not my plan. So Bitcoin gave a pullback. I don't know if it's going to go deeper or not. I'm already on a 1 minute, so I can't go any lower. So it might stay in this area for a little bit. I'd mark something like that. And then I'm either going to get in, and I'm trying to decide if I want to get in. It's hard to know when they're going to pull back. So the only thing I could do is this right here. I could come in with Bitcoin, and I'd put on 10. So I could come into Bitcoin and put a pending order here short in case it goes, in case it just breaks and runs. The only problem with that, again, is it's getting in as it's extending. And it's not the best price to get in. Meanwhile, I would wait for it to pull back and say test these two lows here. This low right here, this low right here. I already had a line there from on back. So I'd kind of drag that down. But it looks like we're going to get taken in short. So if I get taken in short, I'll put my stop order back here at this current low. So I am taken in short. So I come in and put my buy stop there. And then looking to close out 8. So it's already up 225. I'm going to go ahead and close out 8 at 240. So that locked in another, 120. And again, I'm only looking at 500 per day on these accounts. So that's a decent trade. Small, short. I'm not asking for the moon. I'm not asking for, the whole move. I'm just trying to take a little bit. I just need that, that daily paycheck. So moving the stop, I'd move it to half loss. I'm going to move it up aggressive.
Principal amount under credit facilities, and principal repayment of $25 million was made early February, but they're trying to refinance. They're trying to negotiate, a refinancing or work out that indebtedness. But you can see the language there; it's fairly tough in terms of saying, "Hey, we can't."
Good trade so far.
Probable MSG and subsidiaries will seek bankruptcy protection. Don't worry, Dixie fans. I don't think that's going to impact your ability to watch the games, but it is notable. You can take a look at shares of Sphere. I think in some ways it's viewed because it would file separately, that it would actually be seen almost more positively, Carl. But I want to work through it more.
So yeah, here's what he was doing, just so you know. I've mentioned it before. I don't recommend anybody doing this at all. So, and I didn't know this. I'm moving my stop on platinum up below this swing low right here. So I just moved my stop on it. I want to lock in some of that. So the stop, if you look at where the stop is on platinum, its runner is here. To the runner's up, 335, and our stop is not quite halfway. So I don't have half that locked in, but we just closed out one more on platinum. So waiting to see what oil does here on this trend line. Like to see if it bounces there and possibly get in. So was not triggered, almost triggered on oil. And again, I was looking at going long, because all the time frames were green. And then, like I said, it come up, oil came up, made a high, pulled back, and, bounced here. The trend line was off. That was my second point at one point. So it pulled back a little before it kept going up, gave a buy signal. I didn't really feel confident yet, and I was also in a couple other instruments. So marked the high, which was here, and then said to myself, well, if it breaks that high, I'll get in. I'll look to get in. So I sometimes will put these, what I call safety trades on, safety orders, and it's just a pending order above a higher low, and I'm just in case it breaks and runs without me. So I get some of the move. If I do that, I put on partial, and that's why there's only 5 there at that pending order instead of 10. So I'm trading with 10 contracts today on this account, and if I put a pending order in, there's a little risk there in case I barely get taken in. So I'm only doing 5. And then once we had this push up on oil, well, then I thought, okay, I'm going to be triggered. This candle was moving up. I'm probably just barely going to be triggered. So I put that pending order short below that low. And then, of course, it came and triggered me while I wasn't watching. So, again, I closed it out because I'm a firm believer in sticking to my plan. My plan was not to take a trade short to this trend line. And that's where it's gone. So it would have worked out. But that's not why that order was there. That order was there. That 5 sell stop order was there for when I got triggered in long. That was my stop on the order. So since I was triggered, again, that is not something I wanted to do. I closed it out. So, and you look back going, well, but it was in the positive. And it's like, well, but yeah, that wasn't my plan. I'm still looking at for buys, and it could drop through this trend line and keep going. I don't like accidental trades. I don't like to, hey, I accidentally, and then stay in it and it goes down. Hey, I accidentally made $200 on a trade because it's a trade I didn't want to get in. It wasn't my plan. So I have to close it out, and or else you'll get into bad habits, and then you'll do that next time. I'll have 10 contracts on, and it'll go down and trigger me to go short, and then it'll pop back up and hit my stop order, because that order up there would close it out. And now I've just lost back twice as much. So it's just not a good habit to get into. If it's not your plan, close it off. But yeah, so what he was doing, Alex, on his was, and I didn't find this out till about a year and a half in, because I've been trying to get him to trade. And I remember going into the shop one day, and I was Nasdaq short. We were Nasdaq short from Alive in here. I got over there, I think, at 11. No, it was 10. And he's like, "You trading?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm Nasdaq short." I said 10 because that's all he trades, Nasdaq. And he's like, "Oh, okay." He goes, "Well, and so we're good on Bitcoin. So Bitcoin I put on 10, closed 8. So I'm glad I closed at 8 when it came down to 1-to-1 at least, and moved my stop to halfway point. So my stop I moved to half loss on the 2 runners. So that'll be a positive trade, because a half stop on 2 runners is as if on 2 contracts is the same as 1 full stop on 1 contract. So I closed out 8 at 1-to-1. I'd lose back basically 1 of those at a 1-to-1. So that would be 7 contracts in profit 1-to-1. Yeah, I just totally missed the S&P, but not really interested right now. But anyways, what I found out he was doing was he was going in and buying 20 accounts, eval accounts, and he was going in and linking them together in Trade-Evate, 10 accounts each. So he's doing 2 groups, 10 accounts. And I thought he was doing it for safety reasons. Let's just trade 10 past 10. Because then he'd tell me, "Hey, I passed 10 accounts. I just got 10 PA accounts last night." Oh, good. And then I thought he was going to trade the other, evals. Well, what he was doing was he was buying 20 evals, grouping 10 together, grouping a second 10 together, and he was going long in one group, short in another on Nasdaq. Basically, just getting up in the morning, going long Nasdaq in one group, short Nasdaq in another, and one group's going to pass. Literally, that's what he was doing on the evals. I said, "What do you mean? That's what you've been doing this whole time?" He's like, "Well, yeah," kind of chuckled. I'm like, "That's not trading." He goes, "Well, yeah, they really don't care about the evals anyways." I was like, "Their software watches everything." I was like, "They just probably haven't flagged your account yet for some reason because they want money out of you." I think he got 1 payout of $300 over the years, and I've seen him waste literally thousands. I think he's blown over 20 or 30K. But that day I was short Nasdaq. He come over to the table and sat down. He goes, "Well, I think I'm going long." I said, "Dude, I'm short. I'm staying short all day Nasdaq. Short. Stay short." So he gets in, makes $100, closes out. See, I made 100. And it turned and kept going short. I was like, "Yeah, but," it was like half hour later. I said, "Yeah, now if you wouldn't have closed out at your 100, you'd be in the negative." I said, "You'd have lost 1,000. And, "Well, I made 100. I'm like, "Okay." I said, "It's still moving short all day." And then, I don't know, it was about 1 o'clock, 1:30. Come over, sat down again. And go, "I'm going long again." I said, "Why?" "Because it's just kept going short." "Well, yeah, but it's moved so far short, it has to pull back." I said, "No, it doesn't." I said, "There is no guarantee it pulls back." And no lie, he got in short again. And guess what he lost this time? It did not go up to where he could close 100. It just started going against him, and he lost 1,000. So, yes, he made 100 on the first trade, but lost 1,000 on the second. And it trended short all stinking day long. I mean, all day long. So I made several thousand on it, just sticking with that trend. So, but they finally kicked him out. Apex finally, he got a letter saying he was no longer allowed to trade through Apex.
think the president has been clear that at least this round of threatened tariffs are really a function of.
All right, so we're good on
There have been lots of discussions between.
Still in two trades.
With respect to how do we better secure the border. I have said many times that one illegal crossing and one how to defend those.
Now, if I get a bounce here on oil, I'm going to take it. I'll probably still go in light with just 5. Yep.
All seizures are down about 97% in the last couple of months across Canada, and that was from a very low number.
See how it's kind of hanging out on that trend line? And that's just drawn off of this point AB, 1, 2. So the only way I could really draw a retracement line is if I did something like this, and it's already broke that. So it's really already broke that retracement line right there. That would be our retracement line down. So it's really broken that retracement line, pulled back and tested again. So I could get in. It's really a weak entry right now, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm still going to wait on a buy. If I get a buy on the indicator, then I'll go in. So there's already 5 locked in up here ready to trade.
We will see higher gasoline prices as a function of energy, higher electricity prices from hydroelectricity from Canada, higher home heating prices as associated with natural gas that comes from Canada, and higher automobile prices. We estimate that it's at least $2,000 a vehicle more that people will have to pay. So, I have made the argument many times, and I've heard now a number of Republican senators say similar things, that this is something that's a lose-lose proposition for both countries.
I was seeing if I could do something.
Historically been friends and allies.
I didn't know if I could delete your comments on there, but
The real threats to North America, which is
for you.
and Russia. And I have been saying every time I come to Washington, and I'm going to be there again later this week, that it would be better for us to focus on things like critical minerals than break this.
All right, so
And the United States is dependent on. We can do that. But
where are we at on Bitcoin? So Bitcoin I have 2 on, and it's almost at 300. It's almost to that, Bitcoin's almost to this level 3 right here, which is 2 to 1, and it's almost up 300. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to close off one of those. So it's at 268, so it's 134. So locked in 134. And then what I just have to do on Bitcoin is decide, do I want to leave my stop at the half loss on the one runner, or do I want to move my stop to break even? Okay. I'm going to mark this as my support and resistance level right here for my trade. And since it's pushing now, finally got a sell, right? We're hitting that near that 10 o'clock hour. So we're going to start seeing the 4 hours, see if they'll come around. Since it's pushed and it's pushing through sell signal, at that point I am going to move. And I accidentally, instead of putting 1, I have 21 on my stop. So I'm going to pull the stop to break even on Bitcoin. We'll pull it down a little bit so it doesn't interfere with the order. So we're still up 161. So right now we have 1,000 locked in. In our realized profit, we got 321 sitting in unrealized. I made up the $300 loss, 370. And then platinum, I'm getting ready to get taken out. So platinum, I just got taken out on the runners. So on that runner, what was that? Was there 2? I'd have to go look. It's the only problem with trading multiple items. So platinum, I had 1 runner on, and that locked in 130 on that last runner. So not bad on the day. Again, only looking for that. Only looking for 500 a day. So oil it looks like it's breaking the trend line. So again, I didn't get in because I was just waiting on a buy signal. I was waiting for the 15-minute to turn back green, give me a buy, and then I would jump in. So not getting it. Instead, the 1 hour's turned red. So waiting has kept me out. I'd be in the negative right now, because when I looked, it was, back in here. So this is perfect. You just got to wait. Just got to wait them out. And we went down to a 1, and, we had this nice retracement down to this trend line, this uptrend line from back over here to the left. And it bounced through, broke the retracement line, came back to test that trend line, and there's green candle, green candle, or green candle. Typically, I would get in on that. Typically, for me, the way I used to trade was those would be a signal candle I'd get in, like that one right there. Or I might even have taken this one, especially if I didn't wait for it to close. But typically, I'd get in on one of those bounces right there. And, stop, I'd have to come back over here to the left and find a stop below that, which is like here or here, and come back and put my stop below those levels. And as you see, it pulled through and might have even stopped you out. So typically that would be an entry, and I'd be in the negative right now. So that's, where the indicators is helping me to stay out, because what did I say to myself? When we looked at this a few minutes ago and it was here, and I was like, typically that would be an entry. To me, that was a weak entry, I said, because the 15-minute down here was still red, So I was waiting on buy signal, and it never came. So glad it, we're getting these start to refresh. So on the 10-minute time frame, the indicator sometimes does that to me. Nobody else has said it does it to them. So I'm using the next one up, and unfortunately, it's doing it to me. Come on back. There, it's coming back. So all I got to do is find one that the indicator's still on, right-click, and hit apply to all. Still not up on platinum yet. There it goes. So that happens to me. I don't know if it happens to anyone else. Nobody's said that it happens to them, unless they're just reapplying it and dealing with it and hadn't said anything. So I'm waiting to see, but it's been like 3 weeks or a month now, and nobody's said anything. So. All right, so there's a sell that came up on S&P. If I'm going to get in, it's going to be lighter. So I'd been trading with 5. I would put on, 4 or 5 max on it and get in short. And I just have to decide, if I do this right now, I'm basically, at this point, since I'm already good on the day, saying I'm willing to lose back money on the trades. We'll turn this back on to 3. And on oil, obviously, I can close that trade out on oil. We don't need it. And we're getting a sell. We got a sell. Yeah, I'm glad I'm not messing with gold right now. Look at that last candle, 2 candles back on gold. That 10 o'clock candle right there. But yeah, you're seeing that a lot with Apex. They've been doing that for a while. Where they've been asking people for their trade plans. So if you don't have a trade plan to give them, they're going to lock you out. So that was our 10 o'clock manufacturing. numbers.
They were moving higher. Coinbase is a little bit higher. Robinhood lower. Bitcoin surged again yesterday, given some back today.
Some of this air pocket might be explained by ISM, and just crossing the tape. Let's get to Rick Santelli. Hey, Rick. Yes, definitely. There's some weakness creeping in. Let's start on construction spending. Our January number expecting down to 10.
Oil, I'd wait for it to pull back for an entry. So again, same thing with oil. I could come in here and put pending order short in case it breaks and runs, and then in the meantime, wait for it to pull back. And so we got a sell signal, and I've had my son experiment with that because the old indicator, the first one before I got the higher time frames on, it was just a 15-minute and mainly 3-minute signal to buy and sell. He was trading that, but a lot of times when the signal came, you just get a pullback. And so he was waiting. He was doing this same thing. He was putting a pending order, in this case, short, waiting for it to pull back and see if it pulls back to test this level right here, this area right in here, then you would get in short. So if you want to do automatic orders, you can always put a you can always come in and put a sell limit order, something like that. And then what it'll do is so the buy stop order is if it pushes down, it puts you in short. The sell stop, sorry, and then the sell limit is as it pushes up, you sell in the opposite direction. So you could do something like that and let the market just take you in.
With the higher prices and the weaker new orders and jobs. Thank you, Rick. Rick Santelli. And we are going to get jobs at the end of this week. This is a big week in terms of potential catalysts beyond today's numbers on manufacturing that Rick just reported. We're going to get the
But yeah, unfortunately, with the prop firms, it's a thing where people just get in the YOLO, You only live once, throw it all on. And that's what they'll do. And that hurts the industry because that's not what it's meant for. I tried doing that back in 2006 and 7. So my plan was back in 2005 when I started helping people. It was basically, I talked to the guy that I bought training off of, or that trained me, and I contacted him and told him, I said, hey, I've got some people I see struggling, and is it okay if I help them out, teaching them things I learned from you? And he said, yeah, that's no problem. He wasn't training per se. He wasn't into like finding big groups and training. His whole business was he had people trading his actual money. So yeah, we're losing back some on S&P for getting in that. But that's what I started doing, was helping people learn the charting techniques, basically. And my goal was, I thought, wow, if I can find, like 10 people and put 10,000 in each of their accounts, account for each 10,000, and have them trade my money, and if I could just make a portion of that, that would be great as an income stream. And I had several people. First was Trader Jim. He was out of Cincinnati, or is in Cincinnati, and he started getting successful, and I asked him about if he wanted to trade my money. I said, I'll open up a 10K account, but he told me, he's like, honestly, if I trade, he was so focused and doing so well, he's like, if I start trading your money, I think I'll second guess my trades and start taking losing trades and whatnot. And so he never did, but and that was okay. But he just knew that would change his psychology if he was trading my money instead of his, and he would second guess his entries. So at least he realized that, and knew that would be an issue. So that never panned out, and here we are. That was back in 2006 and 7, and here we are later, and there's prop firms everywhere. I wasn't looking to become a prop firm. I just wanted to find a few people that would trade my money. But it was pretty much the same for everybody. Once they started getting successful, it was that fear of trading someone else's money instead of just your own. It's okay to lose your own money, but when you lose someone else's, and I told him, I'm like, I don't care. It's a risk I'm willing to take. You could blow it all. But that's what happens with the prop firms. Everybody just jumps in and out and throws on max contracts. So like Sunday night when I did that new eval account, it was a 50K account, and I got up to 3K. I just started that Sunday night, about 6:30. I started looking at 6. I don't think I jumped to anything till 6:30. But I didn't trade anything out of the ordinary. I was looking at 6, trading like usual, trading micros. I was not, yeah. That's what you got to do. All right, S&P's finally back in a little profit. We've got a low in here. We'll see if it even gets back down there. So that would be our low to break on it. It's got to even get down there first. I was taking in short on oil.
In other words, it's not enough to fully do that, but could be an important revenue raiser.
Let's see. I'm trying to decide on Bitcoin. On Bitcoin, I don't think I want to move the stop down just yet. On the last runner. We'll close out the 5 sell stop we had. Or the sell limit. And then we're putting a tight buy stop in there. On oil. Platinum, I'm trying to decide if I want to even look to get back in on platinum. So did very well on platinum today. We're still up 1,169 realized profit. And again, that was after that $370 loss. So made a little over $1,500 on the day since I took that loss up front. Or sorry, yeah, we made $1,500, but we had the $370 loss. I keep saying we. I guess it's just me.
We know posting losses in February. Nasdaq coming off its worst month here since April of last year. We're continuing to selling this morning. Despite the fears of
Now we're back in the negative on S&P.
to bet on the resilience of the American economy. Forecasting growth will slow
I'm seeing different pricing though.
in the back half of the year. Joining us is Ed Yardeni, our Denny Research
I have another account open and my prices are different.
morning on ISM.
It's the high right there on that green candle.
Business surveys conducted by 5 of the 12 district banks actually suggested it would be stronger. So we've got 5 regional surveys looking better than the ISM. So I'm going to go with the regionals because they support my view that the economy underlying it all is resilient. Look, we just had
Back in the negative on S&P.
widely anticipated that we'd have a recession because the Fed
Yeah, my stop should have been up there.
remain resilient through all of that. And I think we have to learn from that experience that perhaps the economy is going to remain resilient. I think some of the weakness
My stop's really, really close to that high right there
the coldest January since 1980.
on
And so, yeah, I
S&P. So
snap back. I think employment could be big.
it might just barely stop me out and go short. And it could retrace all the way back up to this line here. I got pop-ups everywhere going on. Because that was this downtrend line I had earlier from this point to this point. And it breached it and went up. And that's the long trade I took. So that's where I took the loss earlier. Getting in in on here when it broke that pullback line, that retracement line. Got in short. It wasn't up enough to close partial there, so I hung on. Had to reverse my trade, get out of my short, and get in long here. I was able to close out partial on that. Glad I did. And then got stopped out over here on the long. And then we ended up getting the sell signals and waited out. So I don't know. We'll see how this one turns out. So I had a loss on S&P and then a winner. And then this is actually the third trade on it.
Canada-Mexico tariffs. We'll see. We still have a day before the tariffs go up to 25% on Canada and Mexico. And I'm sure
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with prop firms. Prop firms are great. It allows you to make money on with very low entry cost. And you can make good money doing it. Their rules are pretty strict, stringent. The trailing drawdown normally takes everybody out. So with the trailing drawdown, if you leave runners on, you just have to be very aware of where the runners are, and you have to move your stops. You can't leave your stops way out with a trailing drawdown, because it'll come back. You know, as they pull back, it'll take you out and blow your account. So you have to manage your stops a little bit more aggressively on prop firm trading. On your runners, you just can't let them go. And of course, then all your trades have to be closed out at 5 p.m. Eastern. I tell everybody close them out yourself at 4:45. I've always said that. The reason being is because the broker's software gives them all kind of data they look at. You want to be the type, you want to trade like a hedge fund trader. You want to trade like a professional trader. And professional traders do not let their trades go till 5 p.m. and get automatically closed out by the broker's software. They just don't. A professional trader is going to close out his positions before the end of day, if he has to have them closed before he leaves for the day. So, yeah, I like Top Step too. I like Top Step's platform. Well, I don't like their platform, of course, as well as the full trading view. So Top Step X uses trading view inside their platform. And you can get a Top Step account. You've been able to do that now for a while, where you can get it linked to trading view. But I like that the Top Step account, you can place a trade, and you can go on your trade and click on it and drag down, in this case then a short, drag your stop up. And then your stop is placed. You can also do it with take profit. But your take profit, if you drag your take profit down, it closes out your whole position. So I don't use that. I will go in and put in an opposite order. So if I put in 5 like this on S&P on Top Step, if I wanted to close out, say 3 down here, even on Top Step, I would come in down here and I would come in and put it would be a buy limit order, and I would put a buy limit order of 3, and then I would put that on. And then what's going to happen is, as it pushes down, it's going to close out 3 for me. But I'm definitely a firm believer in. Now I've got both. I've got one account through my Forex broker I've had since 2004, and it's tied to MetaTrader 4. And I've mentioned that before. They will not let me change it. In order for me to change it to TradingView, because now, of course, they offer TradingView, which most all brokers do. TradingView, it used to be MetaTrader 4 and 5. MetaTrader was one of the big platforms across Forex brokers worldwide, and then even in some other markets I'd seen. But then TradingView's taken over the world. So most everywhere now offers TradingView. So even Forex.com, who I'm with, in my Forex account, they offer TradingView as well, but they won't let you just switch your account. It's not like, because I checked with my account manager, and I can't do that. I actually have to open up a new account through that'll be linked with TradingView. And unfortunately, I don't want to shift my other account that way. So I'm gonna move a chunk over and just open up another account with them. But the problem with that is then I end up with so many different accounts. And there's no way to link them all like that. And that's kind of a bummer because I'll sit there and log into one and trade for the day and be like, man, I wish I would have logged into all three, or 4 accounts at the same time. So I do have prop accounts as well, and they're linked together. Mine's through Apex and Top Step. Those are the only ones I have right now. And you just keep passing the evals, get the prop accounts, and link them together. So when I started doing the prop stuff, I looked at it as a separate trading business. It's my prop trading business. That's it. All right, so there's my, I'm going to delete this one here because that was from earlier. So there's my retracement line or pullback line on Bitcoin. So we'll see what it does. It's kind of breaking that. So we had a healthy pullback on it, one runner still. So yeah, I mean, I treated it as a whole separate thing. It's a prop trading business. Got a couple accounts, evals, passed them. Got the PAs. I did not link my first one together. My first one, I went and got my payout. Got partial payout because I wanted to leave some in I wanted to leave room for it to move. So, because your trailing drawdown does stop moving. And then started passing other ones and linking them together. So what I like to do is every month just go in, and that's what I did Sunday night. So Sunday night, Saturday, it was Friday night or Saturday. I just can't remember. My days are kind of blending in here. That I went in and purchased another 50K Apex eval. And then I traded that last night. And we had a buy on gold, and I wasn't watching. It's popping past that high. So anyways, I started trading it Sunday night, and then basically it hit the 3K target, and then you just close everything out and don't trade in it anymore. Because I know someone asked me in the Discord I posted that I closed my trade, and they're like, well, why did you close? And it was because I was on that eval account. So it does take away from regular trading. So I like doing it Sunday night on the evals because typically if I'm doing that, I might not be trading my regular account. So that'd be our trade line up. Never really drew that there because I wasn't trading it. And it's breached that high. So I'm going to wait. I'm not going to put a pending order above that. You could put a pending order above that. I mean, that's how I've let a couple of these drag me in. So in case it, pops and runs, you could put a backup order in. If you're doing riskier entries like that, then do less contracts. But you can come in and put what I call a safety order. In case it pops and runs, it's not going to do it without you. You're going to get part of it. And then I would look for an entry. So wait for it to pull back. And then if it pulls back and tests, this high back in here, and it might pull a little bit deeper. It might pull to the open of the 10:30 news release here. Let's pop up here. Yeah, it looks like we're going to get stopped out on S&P. So see, I'm going to take another loss on S&P. So we had I had one loss originally for 370, and then we had the positive trade, and then I just got stopped out on the other as it's pulled back up to that high. So it's just retracing deeper. So took a chance on shorting it with less contracts, and yeah, I only got in with 5 instead of the 10. So now we're down. So we're still up 750 on realized profit, and then I had the $370 loss before that was the first trade on S&P. So so far we're still up $1,000 on the day on profit after the 370 loss. So still happy with it. But I could have quit earlier. Kind of over trading at this point because I hit my goal. Again, only looking for 500 per day. So have a buy on platinum. I don't know if I'm ready to buy again on that. I did good on that today, real good, because I put on 5 contracts. 5 contracts, closed out 3, and then had 2 runners, closed out 1, and then as it pulled back, got stopped out on the other runner. So I'm just not sure if I want to buy in one. I think I'm going to wait and see if it pulls back, just because we have the inside of this swing right here. You're always going to find reasons not to get in, unfortunately. All right, so we got another sell on Bitcoin, actually.
Hey there, Carl, that's right. Wall Street Journal is reporting that chipmaker TSMC is set to announce a $100 billion investment in advanced chip manufacturing plants here in the United States over the next 4 years. That announcement expected to come at the White House later this afternoon. The White House has an event on the schedule at 1:30 for what they're calling an investment announcement. That looks like that's when we'll see the official news from
And Bitcoin's pulling back a little bit on us. Had a sell signal, so I went and took it. We'll see what happens.
Hey, Eamon, it's David. TSMC already has a fairly large fab in Arizona, right? I mean, I don't know that we have any details.
Let me move my orders out of the way.
Investment plan or completely new manufacturing? Any ideas?
We don't know just yet. We're going to have to wait for the details, David. But what we've seen in the past is some companies have been currying favor with the Trump administration by announcing things that they've previously announced and sort of repackaging them.
But yeah, the prop firms are actually their business model is, a 3-step process. I've had a lot of people over the years think that as soon as they passed an eval, like on using Apex, you pass an eval account, you get a PA account. The PA account you can get paid on. However, it's still a paper account. A lot of people thought, oh, I got a live account. It's like, no, you don't. You still have a paper account. They're willing to pay out on it because if they didn't, you wouldn't stick around. So they're willing to pay out of it. So they suffer that cost of you going through the PA account and you'll get payouts, but it's still paper money. The reason why they're doing that is because they're looking for traders that actually can make real money trades for them and make money. And how they can afford to pay you is by people losing accounts. So that's how they can afford to pay you on your PA account, is that, you know, there's 10 other people or 100 other, for every one trader that's getting a payout on the PA account, there's probably 10, 20, 30, maybe 100 traders blowing accounts. Well, the purchase of those accounts, the eval accounts, and then they might even get a PA account and purchase it and blow that money goes to pay you. You know, the person trading your PA account getting a payouts. Also, they have actual real money traders that once you trade your PA accounts for a while and you're consistently profitable, their computer system lets them know that you're a potential trader. Then they'll look over your accounts and they will contact you. And when they contact you, then it's for a real money account. And then you get one of those, and then you're the trader then, because then they keep part of the profit split. Then you're one of those traders that helps pay for not only people's PA account payouts, but also put money in their pocket, in their bank. I know I shifted all my orders to the left. I can't even see gold right now. It's up 100. All right, so gold's up about 150. I was going to wait till it hit about 2, but it's lost a little steam there. So it's at 150. I'm going to close out 4 of it. Now it's around. So we locked in just about or a little over 100 on that trade so far. And then, of course, we're going to change the stop order to match and drag it up behind. One day I'm going to show, I've done this before, and I don't do it often. I did not do it Sunday night. But there's an aggressive way that you can trade to get to your payout levels quicker. And basically what you're doing is you keep adding in. And you keep moving your stop. So basically, like on oil here, instead of closing out partial when it moves like this, so say it goes up and I'm up a couple hundred, I wouldn't do it right now. I would stack in, 2 more contracts or 3 more contracts, and I would keep moving my stop down as well. You have to keep moving your stop down. So the same with like Bitcoin right now. We're up 10. And I could do it on this. So we're up 10 contracts on here. And I could go into Bitcoin and stack in another, say, 2 contracts, 4 contracts, 6 contracts, whatever, or another 10. You're stacking in. But when you do that, you move your stop. I'm not going to double my risk. So right now I'm 10 short in Bitcoin with my stop where it is. I have X risk, okay? If I'm going to stack in another 10 right now, then I'm going to move my stop halfway. I just have to, because that's the same amount of risk, correct? So I could come in, and the thing is, then that means you're getting stopped out more often. So again, we're up on Bitcoin 10. I could throw on 10 more contracts. However, I have to move my stop halfway because that's the same risk. So let's say it's, $2,000 risk right now. Then if I add another 10, I need to move my stop halfway down, so I still only have the $2,000 risk. I'm not just going to add 10 in and leave my stop. There's no way, because now I'm risking 4,000 on a trade. So we're up 395. So this is the reverse of closing partial, but this is where one of your running trades, and we never know which one's going to just pop and go. That's the issue. You don't know. So you have to take that chance, and it either may pay out or it may not. Okay? It's either one or the other. So, but it can be done. Trying to decide if I want to close out 8 on Bitcoin, or typically if I put on 10, I close out 8 for closing out 80%. So it's up around, what, 460 something. So we'll close out 8. You guys thought I was going to go ahead and sell the extra 10, didn't you? I'm not doing that today, but we'll do. You have to watch the trade. You have to be totally focused. It's nothing you can set and let go. But basically, and then you're moving your stop along the way. You're aggressive with your stop. So it gets pretty intense. So closed out 8 on Bitcoin. Just moved my stop down. Not quite. I'm not moving it to break even yet. It needs to come down here into one of these other levels. So if it comes down past this level here and closes past that level, I'll move my stop at that point. Because right now, I can see visually that if I draw a line from here over to here, that's about where we're at. It's messing with that line. So I don't always draw my lines just because that visually I can see that if there was a line there, we're right around that. So we'll see what it does there. We're back down on the other. So the runner on gold, we just have one runner off that trade.
The 6th most costly health condition in the U.S. Meet creative medical technology. Stock symbol CELZ on the Nasdaq.
Fun stuff. So we're up what? I'm back up 1,226 realized profit locked in. And then with that $370 loss, I made that back. So in the beginning, took that, lost it. So we're up still over 1,500 on the day profit. So 1,500 profit, and I lost 370 of that first thing. So overall, good day, because anytime you can make back that loss, that right there is a positive in my book. I don't care, that first trade for me was negative 370. If that's all I did on the day was make back the 370, or make back 350 of it, or make back 300 of it. So that first loss was 370. If I would have ended up only making 300 back and done for the day and only lost $70, I'd be proud of that. You should be proud of that. And that's not revenge trading. If you're just sitting here, just placing your trades, got a reason to place them. But again, that's like I said, I've had people ask me all the time, well, don't you have if you make 2 losing trades, you're done for the day? And no, I don't. Because one, I'm watching 6 instruments. So now if I were to take a loss, if I were to take my first trade, if I traded 4 instruments of these 6 or 5 or 6, and I've taken 1 loss on 6 different instruments, 5 instruments, I need to walk away. Something's going on. I'm not in the mood to trade or something. My mind's not right. So there's oil popping. So again, something you can try is as you're up, so we're up on oil, I could put in 5 more right now. And I could go in and put in 5 short, but then I have to move my stop halfway down. And then I might get stopped out on that. I'd sit in the negative probably. If I stacked in 5 right now, it would probably pull back against me. And on those 5, it might pull against me for a while. And you just have to be okay with that. So gold, we're out. Gold I'm out of. I didn't see what it was up. So up 5 on oil. since I've been putting on 10, closing out, 8, I would close 4 on oil. Yeah, I'm glad I didn't buy in. Remember I said I was kind of waiting on platinum, if you look down at platinum. So I'm glad I waited. We had a buy signal, and I was like, nah, I'm just, it was right here at that end. Platinum was, let me move it because it's probably behind my head. Here, let me move out of the way like that. So, had a buy signal here on platinum, and I just wasn't ready to buy it because of this right here, that inside top, this high back here. I'm like, it's right there. It just seems risky. So glad I didn't take that, because that would have been, I'd be in the negative. I'd have been in a positive very little and then be in the negative right now. So oil's moving down. So again, it's really risky to do something like that. But if I want to do it, I could go ahead and do that on oil. I could wait for it to pull back a little bit here, because it did make an extension. It made a push. And then what I would do, though, is, for one, right now, I could move my stop halfway. Okay? So I could protect half of my loss now by moving my stop halfway on oil. And I don't always wait for the pullback, but waiting for it to pull back a little bit, because it may not, I could stack into my position. So I could either put a pending order down here, like this, to sell another 5. So, hey, if you're going to keep pushing, go ahead and sell off 5 more. That's what you're basically telling it. And then at that point, I would move my stop to break even, where my break even point is right now, above that. And then if it pulls back deeper, then you can sell off another 5. So there, that's just stacking in. It's just the opposite of what we're doing. So if you go in light, you can always stack in and add into your position as it moves. And the thing is, they just don't move all day. We know that. So it's a matter of trying to decide, where do you cut that off? Where do you say to yourself, it's moved so far down. We saw it over here move down. We saw it break through this trend line, test it a couple times, go back and forth, and then push down. And I said that was not the time to sell. I wasn't going to do it. Yes, we missed the move. It came down, broke the retracement line, because this was drawn on a 1-minute time frame, so it wasn't quite there. I can delete it now. Sat sideways for a while. That's typically where I would have bought, on a 1-minute. We were talking about, or I was talking about, that buy right here, because here's your retracement line. It broke it, tested the backside of this, or tested this uptrend line, green candle, boom, buy. That's typically what I would buy in on, always. And the 1 hour and 4 hour were still in agreement. The 15-minute never gave a green candle again to buy. So we didn't get a buy signal, and that's what I was waiting on. No buy signal. Instead, got a 1 hour reverse and then a sell. So shorted off that down to our next levels is all we're doing. So waiting on it to pull back here, and I'm going to go back to 3. So there's our pullback. So right now that's a better position for me. Okay. So right now, if I wanted to stack in, I would just go in and sell more. I'm going to sell 5 more orders on that. And then at that point, I would close the sell stop order that I had, move my stop down aggressive. I have to get aggressive with my stop now, because now I've got double risk with the contracts. So since I do, I would want to come in and now move my stop down. So stacked in, added 5, closed off the backup order that was here to stack 5 in if it went, and moved the stop down to minimize my risk. So again, the stop was up here above these highs. Well, now that I just put on double contracts, I had to move my stop down so that I'm still only risking the same amount. Now, right now, I have the same risk as when I put on the first 5 contracts with where the stop was. So this is stacking in. It doesn't always work out. We know that. Trades don't work out anyways all the time. So it's a risk I'm taking on gold that may not plan out. So that is my trade plan right now on gold. If it keeps going, or oil, sorry, if it keeps going down, I want to stack in. That may not work out. This may be a losing trade because I'm doing this, choosing to do this. It could just go back to test the highs from that sideways area where it's sideways. It could just go back up there and test those and take me out. So it's riskier. But I'm stacking in on the chance that it's going to keep going. Now, that may not work, guys. So I don't do that on all of them. I might pick one or two and do that too. And usually I do that. Like I'll do that on the Aussie at night.
What does it mean for domestic producers like MP Materials? The company CEO is going to join us with his take next.
So you're getting in light, but you're adding to your position as they trend. If they trend and keep going, you just add to your position. You let the market pay for your orders. You let the market pay to add you in. I did it last year on Bitcoin, like a huge amount. And I just kept stacking in and stacking in, and it really paid off. Like, super big.
Your record label is taking off, but so is your sound engineer. You need to hire.
I almost hit a level I've never, ever hit in my life. A profit target I've never hit. And I don't know if I'll ever hit one. It was so close. I hit the biggest one of my life, but I didn't hit the ultimate one that I set for myself a long time ago. But we're finally at that level. So we'll see how that plays out. That might have not have been the best decision on oil today. I don't know. It remains to be seen. We don't have a crystal ball to know what's going to happen. It could come back and stop me out on it, but I'm taking a chance that it's going to keep pushing down. So I'm stacking in. Now I'm in double my position. So that means double profit. If it goes, it has to go. Yeah, Aussie's still doing good.
Worn out plastic mats under your office chair. They dent and crack, and they're uncomfortable to roll on. I found a premium alternative, a glass chair mat by the Trazo. I liked it so much, I bought the company. I'm George Pardo, president of the Trazo. Our glass chair mats are made of super strong glass and protected with a nanotech coating, so you'll always get a smooth, easy glide. And they're
Not much on runners on Bitcoin right now. Just nothing's really pushing. So, and platinum pulled back to give like a little bounce. I didn't get in on it. My guess is it's gonna at least go back up here to test this area again. Which is this high again too. So right now it's at the inside top of this swing. That's where it pulled back to. So I don't know if I want to take a chance on it or not. So sitting good, up 1206 on the realized. And plus dug out of the hole 370 for the start of today. So I'm happy with that. So, I lost 370, made that back, and then 1,200 more. So lost 370, made 1,500, and then still got 200 in the hole. Could close out and just be done for the day. But I'm going to leave these go in case they, keep running. I don't see a reason to close either one of these out. Now, I'm going to have losses against the gains I've locked in. But again, my goal is 500 a day. That's it. Just a modest goal. 500 a day, 20 trading days. That's 10K. Now, if these, and sometimes you'll bank more than that. And sometimes you won't. But that's my goal. There's days where you'll make a few thousand, especially if you have runners that go. I mean, I've had days where, or weeks in case of like platinum where that platinum trade I'm still in. I've been in for this Friday will be the third week in that trade, if it makes it to Friday. So that platinum trade, guys, that's huge. And that was, I have to go out to like a 15-minute time frame to even see it. But it was way back here on this drop. If I turn that off, it was way back on this drop. Got in with 5 contracts. It dropped down, closed out 3 at $1,830, left 2 runners. I've got 2 runners on platinum that are still on. So those runners are up more than what I made on the closing partial. So that's why we leave runners on. They don't all, by any means, tend to go several weeks like that. And that was a little day trade that turns into. I'm gonna change these probably. I know when you guys only watching small. I think I'm gonna change like my high to break and low to break to something like that. And I'll do the same I'll change them all, fix them all later. That way they're not, the words of them aren't covering up the screen. It's either that or I could shift this over to the left. Personally, I don't like that, but I might do that. So right now, just waiting on oil to pop. Bitcoin's run down a little bit, nothing major. I need it to come down to one of these previous levels down here, and I'm not sure which one. I don't know if I'm going to target this right here, this inside of this low swing. Here's our swing, so the inside bottom of that right there is where I think if it does get down there, that it may stall out right there. I mean, it could stall out anywhere in between. Don't get me wrong. But I'm going to set that as my target to close one. Whoops. I want a buy limit of 1. Gold hadn't done much. Not super choppy, but I've had some things break out a little bit. Have you guys watched the video out there I did on like 0 to 90K in a year? So a high to break level and low to break is basically, I'm just looking at the current previous like low. So I'm short in oil, so I'm not going to look at this low right here. I'm going to look at the move down, right? We've had the move down. Where was the last low made in oil? So again, it's been moving down. I'm in short. This is the lowest low right here. So this is basically going to be, right here would be my low to break on this. It's basically just, before it goes any further, it has to break that low, right? So I'm looking to see if it is, right now it's bearish, okay? It's going down, making lower lows, lower highs, nothing major. It's doing more of a stop and go action where it's come down, move more sideways, push down, gradually push down sideways, and some real sideways here. And then it pushed down. Well, now we're seeing the pullbacks is what we're seeing. So if it doesn't break this low, and this would be my high to break in here, which it's breaking now, which is not good I just was taken out. But so you're marking as it swings down. You mark that low because when it pulls back, you mark that low, and when it pulls back and pushes down again, then you mark that high. That's going to be your high to break. If it breaks the high, then it's made essentially what? It's made a so we have a high, low, lower high, and then when it comes here, when it pushes up past this high, it's actually made a higher low. So now we're starting that bullish structure in here. So the indicator may be all short, but it's starting to make bullish structure, which means it could pull back more, is all it is. Now this could just be a test. You have to wait for the candle to close above that level. To see the swings better, do that. Just jump to a 1 minute. If you're trading the 3, just jump to a 1. And if you jump, I can see it on the 3, right? You can see that it made a low, it pulled back, popped down, and then it's broke that. So if you want to see a little better of the internal swings of those 3-minute time frame, just drop down to a 1. And then now you can kind of see a little bit better. So right now, it's still made a lower high than this one, but then it did make a higher low. Once it pushes past that high, technically it's made a higher. Anytime it pushes past, doesn't really have to close, it's made a higher high. And now we're looking at it to come back, and we would look for, now if it bounces here and then starts to move up, well, then it's also made a higher low than this one. So we're seeing it start to turn to bullish structure in here, which is not good for a short trade. So on that one, I was taken out, and so I lost back on the day $140. So that's not bad. I took a chance on oil. It was short. It made the push down. Took a chance by stacking in when it pulled back. So I did move my stop down. So originally when I got in, where my stop was, with my contracts, because that was, right? Let me look back at that. Yeah, 140. So I was in on 10 contracts. So when I first got in the trade, I was in with 5 contracts and had $140 risk on all 5 contracts. When it pushed down, I stacked in another 5 contracts. So I had 10 on and moved my stop down. So still the same $140 risk. That's all I risked on the trade, which is very small. And then that didn't work out this time. It's not always going to work. So if I would have stuck to what I'm doing on the rest of the pairs, if I would have closed partial instead of trying to stack in, then that would have been a positive trade. I would have closed partial and then moved my stop, and I would have only lost back, because I had 5 on, I would have closed 4, and I would have only lost back I would have lost back $14 on the 1, because it's a tenth of the 140. So that just didn't work out this time to stack in like that. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It's just a chance that I took to, if it would pop and go, then I have on double the contracts. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. The biggest thing is move your stop down. So you're not doubling your risk. That's 100% what you have to do. And then if it would have popped past this low and pushed down, well, then I would have moved my stop to break even and then moved my stop into a profit position. But just never had the chance on that one. So it works. It doesn't work all the time. But what I'll typically do, and I don't even know if I've ever done it in here, but I'll stack in. And then if you get something that just trends all day long and you keep stacking, then you end up with like 10, 20, or 30, micro contracts on. So it's huge, or can be. And I'm looking to see if I want to take S&P again, because we just had that other loss on it. Because it looks like we might get a sell on this. And oil may just pull back. Right now it's just testing those highs. So that may be it. My stop was where it was because I didn't want to double my risk.
cyclical when it comes to logging. So it would be very difficult to get that timeline quick as the administration may want.
Let me go see something real quick. So I'll find that video, guys. It's I put that together. The one I'm talking about. Where do I find the list?
About 0.14%. Nasdaq a bit more. A mixed picture even on Mag 7. Nvidia is the big laggard, down almost 5%. Got a lot more live market coverage for you straight ahead.
Here we go.
What do you got there? Time machine? You gonna go back and see how the pyramids were built or something?
Yeah, I love this video.
So I'm gonna go back to last week and buy
Let me find the link. I'll post the link in here. Let me see how long it is too. Oh, guy, is that the right trade? Yeah. This thing's only 11 minutes, 40 seconds. It's not even 12 minutes long. So yeah, give it a look. I'll pin it to the top of the chat. I think that's how you do that. So anyways, it just, it goes over, I don't want to go into huge detail because you'll be able to watch it and see. I need to get back to my charts. All right, so there's Bitcoin's finally moving. I think I am going to take the sell on, we'll try ES again. So we're getting in a sell order on ES with 5. And then Bitcoin I'm not really worried about right now because we have a buy limit order that's about to be hit on Bitcoin. So Bitcoin 2 contracts on. I chose to put 1 buy limit order in there. So hopefully it'll hit it, not just our level 3. So level 3 on the indicator is 2 to 1. So hopefully that'll get hit here. It may not get hit. It may just rest out there. Watch it not get hit and pull all the way back. Just need a little push. So ES decided to pull back as soon as I got in. That's just lovely. So anyways, watch that video. It goes over, basically, you could have started in January. You can start now. Just go from now to a year. I mean, we just started March. And the first 3 months, and I'm not talking 3 months. The first 3 months, you're only looking for $200 a day. That's it. And so over a 3-month period, if you can lock in $200 a day for 3 months straight, that's your target, $200 a day for 3 months. Some days you'll lock the 200 in. Some days you might lose the 200. It's okay. But your target is 200 a day. It's consistency is what you're trying to build. Because you have to become consistent in trading. If you don't become consistent in your trading, you will not last. So it's basically, hey, I'm going to lock in 200 a day. Now, you know in the back of your mind that you may lose 200 for the day or 150 or only make 120. All right, so Mrs. Duck come down for a minute. Sorry about that. She needed some phone numbers for stuff. So, anyways, that video. So, you have to become consistent in trading. And, okay, so this is kind of good for, sorry, I'm breaking from that for a minute. I don't know if it's going to play out or not. So we got like a head and shoulders pattern on that actually already formed. And then we'd look for it to go back, go down, which it already did. So technically, with the head and shoulders pattern, you're waiting for it to breach the neckline. This is what you call a neckline. So basically, we're just taking the head and shoulders pattern and drawing it from the left side up, and you mark a shoulder, left shoulder, go down the left part of the neckline, and then the head up there, and then back down to the right side of the neckline, and then the right shoulder, and then on down. So it's technically, and you're waiting for it to break the neckline. So it did break the neckline, and it basically turned in here, which is basically the inside of this swing, which is also over here, this swing, which is also over here, this swing. So that's what we're having a problem breaking. We're having a problem breaking this level right in here, that price point. So basically, if you hear me talk about inside tops and bottoms, that's what that is. So if a swing comes down and back up, we get a low. Well, the inside of that turning point, the inside of that move, you want to mark it, and that's called an inside bottom. Those hold up, inside tops and bottoms. So, sideways in here, breaking back to, it played with this old line, which I'd need to move because we actually had a high above it here. But that is a head and shoulders pattern. Will it pan out and keep going down? I don't know. A lot of times what you're looking for is it to break and keep going down quickly. And that doesn't always happen. So instead, it's pulled back, and I don't know if it's going to break again or not. But it's basically having issues breaking this price level in here is where it stopped out, which is the inside of that turn. And it's pretty much, if you look at marking this candle, it's the inside top or the inside bottom of every one of those turns. So just not sure if it's going to break. We'll see. It's going to make another run at it. But I just noticed that, head and shoulder pattern in there. I think I'm going to move stop to break even on Bitcoin. We got taken out our other contracts. So remember, I had 2 contracts on Bitcoin, and one of them I set a limit order down here to close off partial. And that just closed out. So where's my... Yeah, we'll do this. I don't know why I didn't have this on. Normally, sometimes I have this on, sometimes I don't. Sometimes it puts too many markers on the chart. It just depends on our trading. So I still haven't closed any profit on this last S&P trade. So again, I had a limit order over here that we got taken out of.
That's what I was going to ask you. So none of this budget bill that we've been talking about has to do with the fact that the government might shut down next week. It's running up against this deadline. They need the Democrats for the votes, right? There's some Republicans that just won't vote.
So that was the inside bottom marked, and we put the pending order there. And it closed out one of the... So I closed out 8, shorted, closed out 8 in here, shorted 10, closed out 8, and that for partial, and then just closed out one more. So another, what are we up on the runner now? 114. So we're up 114. So close the runner out. It was about another. Oh, I could look. Never mind. It was 104 and 50 cents. I don't count the change. So we can start moving our stop on Bitcoin. That's what I want to think about doing. And I know I've left this on a 1 minute. Sometimes I will. But basically, it's pulled down and turned in here, pulled back up. So it has, that's profit level 3, or target 3 that is labeled. There's no way we can change the numbers on this. So unfortunately, we're using the fib tool, and it goes 0. That's our 0 level, which is our stop. I'm on platinum, and then our first level is our entry, and then I mark half a level, and that's to close out partial. And then the level 2 is actually 1-to-1 risk. Level 3 would be 2-to-1. So on this, it hit level 3, which is 2-to-1. I am going to move my stop a little aggressive, so I said I was. I just moved it down, above this high right here, pretty tight. So I might get taken out on it. We'll see. So now we just have to wait on S&P to do something, as it's gone nothing but flat and sideways. But anyways, back to the video. So that video, like I said, it's only 12 minutes long. I put it together just to show, because I know when you guys go out on the internet, there's a ton of people showing, they made 4,000 on the day, 5,000 on a day, 10,000 on a day, 20,000 on one trade, 10,000 on one trade, 15,000 on one trade. I know that's all over the internet. Yes, you can make that. Is that realistic for a new trader? No, not at all. Okay. You have to know how to trade first before you can get into the bigger trades. You guys have seen me, especially my Forex trades. I go in with 30 to 40 lots, which is same as equivalent to contracts or shares. I didn't start out that way. I started out risking $200, to make, I started out doing $100 to make $200. That's my 2-to-1 risk back when I started. That was my goal, 200 per day. And I actually needed more. I needed 250 per day. So I needed to make 5,000 at the end of the month, each month, to pay our bills. And eventually you get to where you're risking 1,000 to make 3,000, or 2,000 if you're 2-to-1. And then you get to where you're risking 2,000 to make 4. Then you get to where you're risking 5,000 to make 10,000. And I know when you're starting out, that just sounds crazy. You're just like, what? I'm risking 5,000 to make 10,000? But you're doing the same exact trades. So that video, if you watch it, take the first 3 months, and your focus is your trading. Your focus is not your monthly profit. Your focus isn't to get rich. It's not Lambo, what I always call Lambo money. Lambo trading, Lambo money. So, and the reason I mention that is because the one guy, that's his goal, is to buy a Lamborghini. So, but before you can buy the Lamborghini, you need to be able to trade consistently. Let's start there. So that should be your goal in your trading career, trading education, trading career. Is get consistent. Let's make $200 per day. Let's try it for 3 months. For 3 months, you commit. I'm going to make 200 a day. Stick with one system. I don't care if it's mine or moving average cost or whatever. MACD, stochastic, RSI. I really don't care. But you need to stick with something and then focus on making the 200 a day. And you're going to fail a little, and that's fine. One day you might lose the 200. Let's just say you go to 1-to-1 ratio. So one day you might lose 200. The next day you might gain 200. And then one day you might lose. The next day maybe 120. And the next day maybe you get your 200, but you leave a runner on. And that goes up another 150. So the runners a lot of times will cancel out your losers, or at least part of them, if not all. Or they might overshadow to where your runners bring in profit over your losses. So I normally don't look at counting the runners. Let's just shoot for 200 a day with possibly leaving runners on. And then, I'm sorry, I'm kind of watching here. So do that consistent for 3 months. And so what? If you have some losing days in the each month, you will. That's okay. At the end of the month, are you in profit? Okay. Yeah, they do a lot of stuff like that with the Lamba guys. Yeah, and that's the thing. So the guys that you see on there that are going, watch this trader, and it's hilarious. Trader makes $10,000 trade, and he does. But that brings in a ton of people to watch. So, anyways, you focus 3 months on just $200 a day. And then the next 3 months, so if you can get consistent on your wins and losses, you're consistent, you're shooting for 200 a day, you fail to get 200 a day positive. So this month in March, there's 20 trading days. So you're shooting for 200 a day. Let's say 5 of those days you lose 200. Did you fail? No. You had 15 $200 days. You only had 5 $200 losses. Did you fail the month? No, not at all. You were very successful. The next month, you do the same thing. All right? And maybe you'll only have 3 losing days, or maybe you'll have 7. I don't know. 20 trading days, you might have 7 losing days, 13 winning days. Are you successful for that month? Yes, you are. What you don't want to get into is where it's 50-50, where you have 10 wins and 10 losses during a month. There's something else going on we need to look at. So basically for 3 months, shoot for 200 a day. If you can make the 200 a day, now I'm talking tomorrow you might lose 200, but then Wednesday you might have a runner on that gains back 50, 75, or 100 of that loss from tomorrow. So the winners typically will overshadow or make back some of that lost money. So at the end of the month, you might still make that $4,000 for the month, because 200 a day, 20 trade days, $4,000. So 200 a day, that's what this looks at. I don't calculate in the runners or losses, because typically, again, the runners will overshadow your losses, either make up the whole amount, maybe just partial. It depends on your losses and your runners. So we're not counting those, okay? So if you can do the 200 a day, if that's what you did, and the winners, your runners overshadow your losing days, well, then let's say it's 200 a day. That's $4,000 a month. That's $12,000 in the first 3 months. But that's all you're doing, 200 a day. So the next 3 months, on month 4, you double your contracts. And you have to feel confident in it, because you just went through 3 months of trading consistently. So that's the whole thing, is like, take the next 3 months, shoot for 200 a day. You're working on being consistent. So you're working on learning to manage your trades, close partials, all that. You get consistent, 200 a day, and then the next 3 months, second 3 months, you're basically, all you're doing is doubling your contract size. That's it. You're not doing anything different. You're still taking the same entries. You're still managing the trades the same. All you're doing is doubling your contract for the next 3 months. So the first 3 months, you're making $4,000 a month. Well, the next 3 months, you're doubling your contract. So instead of 200 a day, it's 400 a day. Okay? So now you just doubled your monthly income on that. And the next 3 months, guess what you do? You double your contract. I think in the video I did, the first 3 months, you're looking for 1 trade at $200. The next 3 months, you're looking for 2 trades or 200 each. I think the next 3 months, you're actually looking for, the first 3 months, 1 trade at 200. The next 3 months, 2 trades at 200. Sorry, 200, 200. And then the third, you're doubling your size. I believe that's how I did it. So either way, either your first 3 months, you're doing $200 per trade, and you're only looking for one a day, the second 3 months you can either double your contract size or just look for a second trade to lock in 200 and just do it on both trades. And then, so you can do either or. And then the next third 3 months, you are actually doubling your contract size from what you did before. And either it's one or two trades. And then the next three, you're doubling in. So it comes out to, if you total it, 90,000 for the year. It does not hit 10K or 100K. I know it doesn't sound as enticing, 0 to 90,000 in a year versus 0 to 100K in a year. However, the way the math works, it comes up shy, 90K. And if you screw up and you're not quite that successful, oh, guys, you make 60K, 70K, 80K, 60K, 50K, you know. I would love to be shooting for that, 100K goal and fall short and only make 90 for the year. So my goal is 500 a day. That's it. And I'll trade multiple instruments to get there. We're well over that. We've been over it. And then I've placed some extra risky trades here. So, yeah, I needed to close this. We're about to take a 450 loss on S&P. I was going to close when the 15-minute turned back green, but I wasn't watching, so we'll just take our lumps on this one. So we're going to lose back quite a big chunk on this. And I'll let it go, but I doubt it's going to pull back through and go down. We'll see. It basically stalled out at the inside top of this move. So I got in at the bottom, unfortunately, where that pushed through right here, and it just didn't go anywhere afterwards. I wasn't watching for that inside top. I thought it would come down at least back to here, and it just never has. So I kind of put my stop in a risky stop because that's the inside of that swing. So you're going to watch me lose back for about 500. It's up right now. We'll see. I'm not counting on it to hold me in. And I went with tight stops, remember, today. But anyways, that, 500 a day, 20 trading days is 10K a month. So that's my little modest target. And then you'll get some stuff that runs where you'll get, and I'm only shooting for 5. Like right now we're up 12.18. And if this pulls back and it's a loss, it's going to lose 500 of that back. So we're still going to be about 700, 600 on the day, somewhere in there. 600, 700 on the day. And then, that $370 loss this morning, that's even made back. So I made that back. So after the loss, we made back about 1,500, 1,600, and then I might lose back another 4. So end of the day, I might end up about 6. I would love to see the 15-minute go back red and give us a sell signal here. However, I can't even count on that thing to go back to that previous low. I mean, who knows if it'll even get back to where I entered. So at this point, I need to decide how I want to preserve this trade. How do I want to save this? All right, this is going to be huge for my day because right now my unrealized profit and loss is at 250. It was at almost 500. So I have to decide, what do I want to do? I could close out half of my loss. I could close out, 3 contracts. And so I have to decide on what I want to do with this. What do you guys suggest? should I close out 3 contracts right now at this smaller loss than what it was? Because it was at 500. I could close out 3 contracts right now. I could close it all. So the options are close out the whole thing and be done. Negative 287 on this. And just say, I'm done. It's 11:30, lunchtime. Markets are closing overseas. And U.S. here is breaking for lunch. So what would you suggest if I was asking you what should I do here? Or what would you do? Do I close out? You know, I'm sitting there with 1,200 in a positive for the day. I could close out half loss here. I could close out 3 contracts and minimize my loss. I could close out 3 contracts and let 2 go in case this is the time that it goes through and breaks all this. Or I could just drag my stop down tight, like super tight. Like right now I could drag my stop here. And then as it pushes down, trail my stop. Those are 3 options. So you think it'll take the lows? Well, we can sit with that. I mean, it's pushing back to it. So, but those are the 3 options. That's what you got to go through. You got to go through, hey, it's the end of my trading day. I could have lost back 500. And there's the sell we were talking about, which we have to wait for this candle to close before we say that's gonna stay. It'll pop back and forth as it's forming. So we'll see what happens. But now I'm down 50. So I could still close the whole thing. Or I could close partial. I could still close 3 and take a small loss on the 3 I close, move my stop down, and let the 3 go. Or let the 2 runners go in case it goes. But this is like should be part of your trading plan. You should know all your options when you're in a situation like that. So we were willing to lose back, but now that it's pushed and it's late in the day, I really don't want it to go back up there clear to hit my stop. You know, at this point, we almost risked getting out at that $500 loss. So I've got 3 in the hole ready to close, or I need to change that. I'm not looking to get into anything else. That's the only thing I'm in right now, by the way. But anyways, give that video a watch. It just, like I said, it's only like, it's not quite 12 minutes long. But that's all it does. It just focus on making that modest $200 a day. And I know it sounds ridiculous when you're looking at other people posting on the internet. You know, watch trader make $4,000 one trade. You know, $10,000 in 10 minutes. But that's how they get at least you guys know that that's how they get the it's exciting. And that's what people want. They want to make the 10,000 a day, 5,000 a day, one trade. You know, 20 minutes. I can get up and trade 20 minutes and make 10K. Yeah, and you can, but you need to learn how to trade first. That's the issue. And a lot of people don't. They think it's that easy, and it's not. I think everybody that trades for a while realizes that, nope, it's not like what I saw in those videos. Look, it bounced right at my order. Bounced right at that low point again. So we'll see if it gets to push through. Gold's still trying to go up. It's still on that trend line. And obviously on gold, that trend line was drawn from this point to this point. Those 2 points. And then I moved it out here before 10 o'clock, which is when news came out. So we're ignoring that wick because we can't really draw a trend line from there to that wick. So right now it's just bouncing at that level. I'm not looking to take anything new, but it looks like it might bounce there. Platinum, glad I stayed out of these two buys. So good trade on platinum, solid on the day. 5 in, closed off 3. And, or was it 10 in? No, it was 5. And then I got back in. I actually placed 2 in there. Bought 5, sold 5, bought 5, and then sold 3, and then closed 1 there. Where's the other one? It's in there somewhere. Oh, way up there. So closed 3, closed 1 on that little push up here. It never went higher than that. And then the other closed out here. So good on when the stop was pulled up. It hit the stop eventually. So good on the day still. Just does not want to push.
Music is the ultimate uniter. It belongs to all of us. And now you can own a share of it for yourself.
And then oil down here. Oil gave a, what is that? So we did get a, where did we get this buy? I'm looking. Oh, Australian dollar, sorry. We're not watching the Australian dollar on here. But just got a buy on it. So again, oil, it gave us sell, pulled down. Everything's still red. However, it's just giving a huge pullback. That's where you just monitor those highs and lows. And when if they break the high, you're due for a possible larger pullback. Anytime it breaks the high, that's why it pops down. We'll mark the low. It pops back up. We mark the high. It basically broke the high, pulled back down to test the high in here. The high held up as support, and it's pulled back deeper. So that's the only thing when it breaks a high. If it's a sell signal and you're looking at everything being, red at the bottom, the 15-minute, 1 hour, and 4 hour, you mark your highs and lows. If it breaks the high, the current high, you're due for a pullback. It's pulling back. So that's when, you're either hanging on to your trade or you moved your stop above this, level and we're stopped out, or you're in the negative now. Hopefully it's on runners only and not the whole trade. We're just sitting at 0 right now. Are these charts better for you guys to watch? Because I'm trying to get everybody's opinion on it versus this. This is what I used to have them on. Oh, yeah. As I look at, and so I've had to keep them clean. If I look at Bitcoin now and platinum, you can't even see anything on there. Typically, I'd have it that way to see more candles to the left, but don't need them that way. And if I draw things on the chart, I think this looks better. Let me know what you guys think on it. Yeah, that looks way better. So I'll leave it like this. I don't know why I didn't think of going that way. Do you like the other? This one, right? Is the one you're talking about you like better? Yeah, this, in my opinion, looks way better too. You can definitely see better on it, so that's my bad. I've had it the other way for so long, just because I'd pull in and look at more candles for the highs and lows. But if we just keep marking them as it goes, it doesn't matter. Oh, okay. Well, there for a while we only did the 4 contracts. Because I know 6 was quite a bit when we were doing the signals. It's making another run. S&P's trying. It's just not breaking that that area I marked right here. It's trying to now. So that was I'll change these later.
Are you involved in advising around this strategic crypto reserve?
I've met with a bunch of senators on the Democratic and the Republican side, a bunch of Congress.
Because I've got to go back and resave them as new. And
A few members of the
there's no. Is there a CO? Oh no, never mind.
You know me, for the last 4.5 years, I'm willing to talk about Bitcoin to anybody, anywhere in the world, every day.
I can save this as the.
Talking to our audience about it. So, were you surprised that in the announcement over the weekend, the president
There we go.
and other smaller coins like
Yeah, I like that better. Same with this.
Cardano as well as Bitcoin for the strategic crypto fund?
I'm not surprised. I think there's no way to interpret this other than this is bullish for Bitcoin and is bullish for the entire U.S. crypto industry.
Yeah, I like those better. That way, when I do the smart charts, the text isn't like shadowing the candles and stuff for you guys. Nice. All right. So it's breaking the low, or broke the low. It's just barely popped there. Again, I'm closing 3. So it was 125.50. So we locked in what, about 70, 75. So locked in 75 on it. And we'll see if it goes lower. It may still go, but I'm finally in that positive position, and I know I risk way more than what I've gotten so far. Because we were almost in negative 500. So I'm, as far as my risk reward on this, is upside down. But that's not what my plan was. My plan when I put the trade on, right? So when I put the trade on, my plan was for it to go clear down here or further, right? When I put the trade on, I didn't plan on risking 500 to make 75. You never plan on that. You shouldn't plan on that, right? So I'm going with what's happening on the chart. And it had a nice big pullback, sell candle, sell signal. Everything went back, the 15-minute went back red, the 1 hour and 4 hours still red. So my plan was to trade short with the signals, with the 1 hour and 4 hour being red, that it's going to go. And it's going to go a decent amount. So when I put on the trade, my plan was, getting in the trade on the signal. And then and I waited on a pullback, right there, and then jumped in. So getting in on that signal with the stop above this high, not above this one. I didn't go way above that one. I went my stop above there. So that was my plan. Get in short, stop above here. The target would have been, from my entry to my where my stop is. So my target would have been at least 1-to-1, if not 2-to-1. And I'd have to drag that over to where I actually got in. So again, my plan was not to risk 500 to lock in just 75. So my plan was obviously for it to go to, let me take that off, it to go to at least 1-to-1 or further. But the market, after my entry, just went sideways for a while and even pulled back deeper. So, yeah, I've done 4-hour trading and 1 hour trading. You're risking more. You can't put tight stop losses. I mean, you can put them tight to like a 4-hour candle or 5-hour. But if you make that change, what I would do is if you make that change to like say a 1 hour, then you want to only trade on the 1 hour. You don't want to go back and forth because you don't want to trade on a 1 hour or 4 hour. Let's say you traded on a 4 hour and where your stop is, you can only put one contract on because you're risking $1,000, and you want it to go to 2-to-1. So you're risking 1,000 to make 2,000. And tomorrow, you get an entry tomorrow on a 4-hour. You risk 1,000 to make 2,000 or more because you're going to move your stop. And tomorrow it goes against you and you lose 1,000. Then what I've seen people do is then the next entry that's signaled on a 4-hour, they're not there because they're down on a 15-minute or 5, and they're trading on that. And then they look back and go, oh, I could have traded that on the 4-hour. So if you're going to do that, you need to really stay consistent in trying that setup and only do it on that time frame. So I've seen huge drawdowns on that. I know she's gone into huge drawdowns on it, and even some losing trades. The drawdowns are just, if you have, because I don't remember, but I don't think she waits on the pullbacks. So on a 4-hour trend line break, if this was a 4-hour and you took a 4-hour candle close like this above, it just, here would be a negative trade, and it would depend on where your stop is to how big. But we can look at that sometime. It is just a different time frame. It's slower trading and less entries per month. There's nothing wrong with that. And some people don't have time to sit here all morning. I have time. I started out this way, so I've got nothing but time in the morning to trade, and then I look to break for lunch and do whatever. So as of it sits right now, I'm glad I closed the 3 where I did. If it never goes further, we don't know if it's going to push or not. Still got 2 on. So, as of right now, that trade pulled back to where it's in the positive. I could pull my stop to there, which would put it at a little better than the halfway point. So now on my 2 runners, I could lose back half of what I risked originally on them. If I want to get aggressive with it, I can move down here, move my stop to break even. Or we could do this and move it, another quarter of the move down. And just now I got to just trail my stop. So I have to decide, do I want to, if it comes down here to this low, okay. So if it comes down toward that low, if we get another push, do I want to close out 1? Or do I just want to trail my stop? And for me, I'm just going to trail my stop. I'm just going to pull it to break even. So and I could do it now. I could pull it to break even now. I kind of want to leave it there and give it room in case it pulls back and bounces. So I really want it to push past this level that it just formed before I move my stop. So if it closes past that, then I'll move my stop to break even. And I'd like to leave the 2 go. And if it decides to finally trend, because how many times have you traded? I've done it tons of times where I trade the U.S. session and stop, about 11:30 or noon, and then the rest of the day, especially Nasdaq and ES, the rest of the day they've just started to trend after lunch, during lunch, and just keep going. So gold finally broke its high. Finally broke that high where I closed some out, which was right there. I'm not looking for an entry, but you look at it. We're not going to get any more. The only way we will get buy signals is if the 15-minute, the top part of the indicator for that 15-minute goes back red and then turns green, and the 1 hour and 4 hour are still green, you're going to get a buy signal like this. So the only way we would ever get a buy signal up through here would be the 15-minute would have had to have gone back red for a while, and it just never has. So it just kept moving, and that's why you try and hold your trade. I went with tighter stops, so I'm stopped out and missed this move because of that, because of the tight stops. But overall, it's been good and trending. It just had a huge pullback. That's a decent pullback. But when you get the pullback, you look to the left of the screen. Why is it bouncing where it's bouncing? Well, you got these two levels over here. You got the high of the swing up and back, made a high. You got the high of the swing, you got the inside of that swing. Mark those two levels. And you're going to get a ton of lines on the chart, trust me. Try and delete them as I can. Prop firms, you're, I don't know. I've seen people try and trade 4 hour on a prop firm account. If you have to close your trades out every day at 5, you're really hoping for an entry at night. Like if I had an entry tonight on something on a 4 hour break and took it, I would take it. And then hopefully throughout London session and everything in the U.S. session, it keeps going in that direction because you got to close out at 5. So normally with the prop firms, you can't. You'll blow your account. You can try it, but Bitcoin, after taking us out on our runner, has done nothing but give sells, and it did pull back. But it never went past the inside of this swing. So right now we're going into a little bit of negative on the gold runners, or S&P runners, sorry. So we'll lose back a little bit, down about 25. We'll lose back, what, about 40? 30, 40, somewhere. I think it's about 30. 25, probably about 50, actually. 45 or 50, judging by where price is compared to my stop in my entry order. It's about in the middle. Price is about in the middle between the two, and we're down 25. So we'll lose back about 50, so 1293. Realized profit, and there we go. So 1243 on the day. To me, that's a successful day. Again, I'm only looking for 500, and I started off the day with negative 370 on S&P. That first trade on S&P. So this trade helped bring back some of that, but was negative 370, and then before that trade, even after that trade, just closed out, we're at positive 1243 on the day. And then we made back that 370. I did that early on. So made back quite a bit on the day. So real happy with the day. Even though nothing really trended. I mean, gold has trended so far, but I wasn't even in it. So not in the runner because of the tight stop. So... And you guys have to decide on how tight you're going to move your stop, obviously. Some people like a tight stop. I normally like to leave mine 2 levels back, and that does mean on the runners sometimes I lose back more than I'd want to. But then you're staying in this. So if I had my stop on my runners on gold back below the low. Because remember, I took here. So I took when it broke. When it broke this high, I had that pending order, that safety order. So I was taken in on that candle there. And it went up and I closed 4. So I had 5 on, closed 4. And then my stop, I moved. I moved my stop tight. So it stopped me out here only to keep going. So if I would have kept my stop out, I'd still been in this trade and still have one contract on. I would have sat in the negative a bit because my entry order is there. So as it pulled back here, I'd have been in the negative a little bit on the one runner. And that's okay because we closed out 4. Sideways for a long time. This sideways movement right here, still in the negative because the entry was here. So that was our entry candle. So pulled back, negative for quite a while. Negative all this. You know, count how many candles in there. Positive a little bit, back in the negative for a while longer. Okay? So there's like what? 3, these are 3-minute candles. So 10 of them's 30 minutes. So probably over half an hour here, over an hour here in the negative on the one runner. Positive a little bit, negative for about another half hour, 40 minutes. Positive again, making a higher high, comes back, negative a little bit, and then positive a little bit, and then finally it breaks up above this high and sideways. So you just got to be willing to sit through that. But that's why I closed partial. Got in with 5, closed 4. It comes back. If I kept my stop where it was instead of moving aggressive, I would have stayed in this. I'd have been negative for most of the morning on the one runner. Not the whole 5, just the one runner. And you should be okay with that. And you should be okay with taking the loss on the one runner. Okay, we leave it on in case it goes. So if I was still in that, who knows? I mean, I'll check it at the end of the day. You know, I'm done watching for the morning, but I'll check it at the end of the day and see where it's at. Because tight stops will a lot of times take you out only to keep going. So glad I closed out, not closed out, but glad on S&P that I moved my stop. Because remember, stop was up here originally. As it pushed down, moved stop to halfway, and then I moved my stop even here. I moved it another quarter of the way down. So closed out 3 down here, finally, after being in the negative for quite a bit. And then the last 2, so I tried leaving 2 runners on. It just it didn't go. So I pulled my stop to halfway. Between the halfway point and here, so up to the quarter. So I only lost a quarter of my original risk on 2 contracts. All right. So real happy with that too. So happy on the day. So I hope you guys enjoyed today. I'm going to cut the stream off as usual. Watch that video though. I think you guys will really like it. It is something to consider. It's something I recommend anyone to consider. Because you have to get consistent first. And then once you get consistent, then all you have to do is increase your contract size. And you don't have to double it. That's the thing. I show in there, I think the first 3 months it was to go for $200 one trade. And then the second 3 months it was to go, I believe, $200 a day or a trade, but put 2 on per day. So the first 3 months you're putting 1 trade going for 200. The second 3 months, you're putting on 2 trades going for 100. So that's 400 a day. And then the next month, you're doubling your contract. And then, or next 3. And the last 3 months of the year, you're doubling again. Now, you don't have to do that. You could do 3 contracts and shoot for $100 a trade. Or 3 months, shoot for 100. The next 3 months, shoot for $200 trades. And then the next 3 months, you could double your contracts, or you could take half that and not double. So instead of 2 contracts, instead of doubling going to 4, you can go to 3. You don't have to go to 4. You don't have to double because you are doubling your risk then. but that's okay because you're shooting for the same target you do every day. So I'll catch you guys later. Check out that video, and we'll see you then tomorrow.